Hi, thanks for joining me in this Power Prayer Moment, Monday, February 21st, 2022. Pastor Bill Kelly here again, and today's reading is entitled Busy with the Business of Prayer and Apostolic Praying. The verses are Acts 6:4. We will give our attention to prayer and the ministry of the word. And then again, 1 Thessalonians 3:10. Night and day we pray most earnestly. E.M. Bounds writes, the apostles knew the necessity and worth of prayer to their ministry. They knew that their high commission as apostles, instead of relieving them from the necessity of prayer, committed them to it even more. They were exceedingly jealous when other important work exhausted their time and prevented them from praying as they ought. As a result, they appointed laymen to do the jobs they were distracting them from their prayer time, and prayer was put first. They made it a business of surrendering themselves to praying, putting fervor, urgency, perseverance, and time into it. Yeah, the apostles knew that if they were going to be successful in the mission that Jesus had given them, it was going to take prayer. That mission was not to just go out and tell people about Jesus, but to get other people involved once they came to know Jesus, and not only involved, but empowered to do the work of the ministry. So we all have our different roles, we have our different tasks, and that of pastor, apostle, is that of praying and encouraging and preaching and praying and encouraging and preaching and praying. We often get so caught up in so many things, and I know myself as a bivocational pastor, I need to spend more time in prayer for my people. I need to spend more time praying specifically for them to come to have that fervor for their area of ministry, for the gifting that God has given them. This is actually 2 days in one. Yesterday's and today's just kind of fell in together, and I didn't want to separate the two. E.M. Bounds writes in today's reading, the New Testament preachers laid themselves out in prayer for God's people. They put God in full force into churches by their praying. The preacher who has never learned in the school of Christ the high and divine art of intercession for his people will never learn the art of preaching. Though he may be the most gifted genius in sermon making and sermon delivery, he will never preach as the apostles if he does not pray as they did. Apostolic praying makes apostolic saints and keeps apostolic times of purity and power in the church. I believe that's one of the things that's wrong with churches today, is that pastors spend too much time in sermon preparation and less time in praying for God's power and God's presence to be in their congregations and in their people. And I'm guilty of that. I spend too much time thinking about the sermon rather than thinking about the people. God help us all. I believe that that's one reason the church is weak today. I believe that's one of the reasons why we have churches that are closing their doors, and why people are disenchanted with church. The power is not there, and the power is not there because the pastor is not the praying pastor, and the people that therefore are not the praying people. God has so often told me that prayer is the focus that we need to be about as pastors and preachers. So, E.M. Bounds' prayer today is, God, I want to surrender myself to you in prayer by putting enthusiasm, perseverance, and time into it. I want to pray night and day as your apostles did. Please help me. And as a pastor, that is my prayer today, that God helps me make prayer more of a priority than it has been. That prayer for the not only for the Sunday morning times, but the prayer for the people, prayer for God's people, to be fervent about God and His love and their love for Him. God help us all to spend more time praying for the presence and the power of God in our lives and in the lives of those we love. You be blessed, and I will see you tomorrow, Tuesday. You have a great evening, a great day. Be a blessing to others. Thanks for joining me.